Hey everyone, this is Coffee with Soul. We're here to just chat and try to have a good time as I wake my butt up and then get started with stuff. Today is going to be more than likely a World of Warcraft day because it's reset day. There's new stuff coming. We're going to be checking that stuff out later. That's not going to be part of today's show, but you guys are. So a quick shout out to the first folks who have been saying hi today. What's up to Jatruli? Jakruli? I'll go with that. That sounds like a dish. You're the first person to say hi, so you get a point. What's up? What is up to Jalzan and Akana and Menarg and Jeppy and Flan and Dreyfus and Silvercloud, and of course to all the other beautiful digital smiling faces who are going to be joining us today. Raise one up. Happy morning, or whatever time it is that you're watching this show. I definitely needed this one. So I hope everyone has had a pleasant weekend, because not everyone has. The big thing that's been going on over this weekend, if anyone's been paying attention to social media, which to be honest, you probably shouldn't, because you're just looking for if you're looking to enjoy video games, play video games. That's it. If you're looking for drama, then mess around in social media and talk with folks and listen for the discourse. Yeah, I think that should be an immediate takeaway. If you want to just have fun, just play games. That's it. Play your MMOs, play your action games, play Pong, play tabletop stuff, whatever. Just immerse yourself into the thing that you're trying to escape from. But yeah, if you're a masochist, then jump in to the drama. So I'm gonna try to summarize this. It's hard to summarize because it's so full of vague truths and vague facts that I don't have on hand. So I'm not gonna be a reliable narrator. How about that? Actually, I should just name names. That should be easier. I saw a thread that started with Asmongold. Because basically his channel person, his YouTube person made a video of him, made a clip of him calling out this developer Jeff Hamilton about his statements, and then Asmongold said things, and then his the people that were watching, they were getting all riled up, and they went after this guy on his Twitter. Like, I think I remember there was something that Jeff said about Stellaris, a game that I know I've heard of. I didn't look it up, but I know it's like some other game. But he's like, oh yeah, something. He was just asking about some game, and then there's a whole bunch of people just attacking him, just taking him on. It's like, it's not like this, but it's like if you're at your house and then people are just coming over to just throw crap at your house for no reason. The really difficult part of this is the really difficult part of this is that you can't blame I can't blame Asmongold for it. It's not like he directly said, there he is, guys, go get him, get on his Twitter and get up on his stuff, unless you guys link me a tweet or something like that, then oh, my bad. But I don't quite see it that way, because like he's got an audience that acts a certain way, and you'd want to say, well, it's his job to like rein them in and tell them what to do and blah blah blah, but that it doesn't quite work that way, because the audience, they're not employees of Asmongold or anything like that. It's hard for him to clean house by, I don't know, but like, what can he say? You're not allowed to watch my channel. You're not allowed to watch my channel. You're not allowed. It would be. I don't think it would be a good idea for him to be like, oh, I'm just gonna have a sub only channel or something like that, because then he'll have like a lot more of that control. He'll be like, okay, like you're not fitting my vibe. You are banned or whatever. I think that's how that can work. But the thing is, like, I don't buy into the idea, or I'm trying to not buy into the idea that one person makes someone feel a certain way. It's the other way around. That certain someone that feels a certain way already is looking for like that sort of validation. And I think that's the most liability that the content creator could have, because there's only so much that they can do for to control that. It's tough. And you know what also really makes it tough is that even though I'm gonna slip up, or I'm slipping up here and there, I'm doing my best to not rile these people up, because I don't want to also get be the target of harassment and stuff like that. That's the really shitty part, guys. That aggressive behavior like that suppresses me, or suppresses people that want to speak out because they don't want to be It sounds familiar, doesn't it? We were looking at all these articles inside Blizzard and how they have this culture of toxicity and harassment and blah blah blah, and people don't want to speak out. It's it should be no secret that it happens everywhere. Work, play, games, social media, that sort of stuff, where people will use their they'll brigade basically. It's not necessarily because, oh yeah, big YouTubers got my back and all that. It's everyone else that's beside them. Like, yeah, dude, let's go get them. Big takeaway next big takeaway: harassment isn't okay. That's it. There's no buts. It's been hilarious. Oh, it's been so hilarious on social media seeing the buts. Not necessarily on the threads that I've been starting, but people saying, okay, I get it. I totally get it. It's like not okay to get on the dude's Twitter and like and smash on them, but but what? But everything that comes after that says, communicates to me, because it's really hard to see that person's words. It just gets stuck in my head. But I can harass this person because yada 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 yada. If people wanted to protest, and not harass, which is what I think some of these folks wanted to do, but they obviously weren't doing it right. Do what other people have done in light of the in light of the lawsuit and the allegations and such. Set something, stage something, stage a walkout. No one's talking about that. Hey, let's stage a walkout because because of things that this dude said. Let's protest in front of some location in WoW, or Classic WoW, or BC Classic, or wherever, and let's make our voices heard. No, let's go to the dude's house, social media house, and light this dude up because what again? He was supposedly, I didn't do enough research on this, but he was supposedly responsible for the creation of Azerite gear and corruption and domination shards. So let's get this guy fired, right? That's let's definitely do that. Let me see if I can find this guy on LinkedIn. Come on, dude. Let me stack you a little bit, because one thing that I remember something being said about him is that, oh yeah, I started around the time of Battle for Azeroth. I'm like, oh, so doesn't that mean Azeroth was already a thing? He started in January of 2018, which I believe is a couple of months after the announcement. No, BlizzCon 2018 is when crap. Okay. So he started like after the announcement of BFA. Yes. But he was definitely because I remember I do remember like his profile or his Twitter or whatever. He said that he worked on it. Which obviously means he's the only person that worked on it from top to bottom, did all the balancing and everything. It's a tough issue because it's I'll get to chat in just a second, but I want to circle back for a second and say it's not it sucks because one person tends to have that big audience of all of like the really rabid folks, the folks who are part of like this really bad behavior. um and I think the best thing to task himself is not so much can he control that audience, but does he want that still? um does he want that audience? Because it makes him a lot of money, that's for sure. But is it worth it? I don't know if I would want to wield that sort of. I don't think I'd want to try and control something like that. That's why I like being small and boring. So, I'm gonna read chat a little bit, guys. I know that there's a lot of stuff that I haven't caught up on. I want to say hi to people, so sorry, people on the VOD. I gotta respect the folks that come and show up and want to say what up. Rusty says good morning. The BS over the weekend was ridiculous. I definitely agree with that. It's really tough. Priscilla says hey back to you. ATD says that there's zero chance that Asmongold doesn't know that his rabid and unsavory community will not go after people, even if he tells them not to. And that's the tough thing, because he's not their employer. If you were to tell people, hey, I'm turning a new leaf, we're not about that, yada yada yada, you know what those people do? They wouldn't change. They wouldn't be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go ahead. We're all about this. No, they would go to the next person. They would go to the next person that validates their feelings, and then we'll have the next person. Not even to say that Asmongold represents like that, represents that side of the community. He just happens to have those followers. It's a tough. It sounds like it sounds so soft to me, right? To make those sort of soft and weak assertions like that. But one, I don't think it's true. And two, I don't want to get targeted like that because it sucks. Sinless Sinner says that he's losing it. He's starting to lose perspective, and his ego is getting in the way. I haven't looked at the direct comments or anything that he's made. I saw something this morning about how he's like, hey, I can't believe that it's that people are saying that it's not okay for me to defend myself or whatever. I didn't even know that he was actually being attacked. So I think that was like something else. So I can't really comment on that. Dreyfus says, I pulled up a Chrome tab a day or two mentioning how friendly 14 was, and then another headline mentioning how Asmongold says, wow, so toxic, mentioning how he was a part of that community. I think one reason I stick around is because I want to infuse extra kindness into the realms that I play in. Yay! Menard says that he loved the video. Oh, by the way, I did put out a video just earlier that was basically an open letter with a bunch of different criticisms that I wanted to focus on and encourage the developers to answer. They won't. That's not how it works. But I did it anyway, just so I could. I guess part of it was because I wanted to share my own discourse. Because I do it every now and then, like all the time. But I wanted to like kind of cram some of these extended thoughts together and ask questions in a way that it's like, hey, we've heard some of what you had to say, but let me try to follow up on this and everything. But yeah, thank you, Menard. Center says the responsibility is inherent to everything that we do, whether it be at work, family circle, or gaming. To every action, there's a reaction. You can't do something and not own up to the consequences. I agree with that up to a certain point, because we can't carry the world's burdens on our shoulders. We can only, control what it is that we do. That's the extent of what I know I can do. Like if any of you guys had gone off and did something awful, is it my fault? No, of course not. But even with closer associations where, I have some sort, if there's like some sort of not even, I don't even think he had like a call to action. He was just like reacting to the stuff. And, people, there are crazy people out there. I think that there are people who will act in extreme ways, totally on their own. What sucks is that, a person like Asmongold becomes a focal point for these sorts of voices to gather, and it's kind of both, the big creator, the big focal point, as well as what it gathered together that creates that helps to incite actions like these, even if the person at the top says like nothing, that would nothing to actually direct these people. So again, it's like, what do you do? Like, do you try to control the crowd? No, because they're just going to chase someone else. Do you try to influence the crowd, because you're an influencer, into not doing those sorts of things? It helps, but you're still going to get, I'm pretty certain you're still going to get a bunch of people that break off and be like, okay, this guy just no longer vibes with me. F this guy. This guy's a beta. Whatever. I'm going off on my own, or I'm going to find the next person that really connects with me. So, if you're as big as him, there comes a point you're kind of responsible for your audience to some point, and I think that's really low. Unfortunately, I think it's a really low point, because people can just go to him, or they could just walk away. There's no, like I said, unless he were to go like dark, like go sub only, you can only watch me if you subscribe. I'm no longer gonna put in like public YouTube things or anything like that. But that's like I don't think that's a good idea anyway. No, I'm boring. Yeah, I know. Thanks. Oh, I'm not boring. I'm breezy. How about both, right? How about both? Albro Sky, it's your first time chatting. Welcome. Hello. If you had to choose one, what do you prefer? Chicken nuggets or chicken tenders? Chicken nuggets from McDonald's with hot mustard. That's it. You were watching his stream. Oh, he's streaming right now. That's cool. Good choice. But yeah, good morning to everyone. So not the best weekend that went on. But again, the takeaway is harassment's bad. Don't do it. There's no buts. There are other ways you can do it, such as the WoW forums. That is the place for, that's, as much as some folks would hate it, it's the best place to go to read that sort of stuff. It's close to home. It's right there. You can't, beyond whatever's on their terms of service, you can say whatever you want, because it's the official forums. I don't even know I don't even know another way to word it. Just, direct your thoughts like over there. Or if you want to set up your own soapbox, yeah, you can, on your Twitter, you can say something on your own timeline or whatever, shout into the ether and then see if anyone's heard. Don't go to the dude's house. Or don't go to the guy's house, the girl's house, and get in on that, because at the very least it's rude. That's it. So I heard that Blizzard is actively trying to make player housing work. Get out of here, dude. I talk it up so much, but even internally, I feel like it feels like a joke. I'm like, yeah, right, yeah, sure, that's what Tally said. Yeah, and what he says is canon, right? So maybe I should think about that. No, I am not going to give myself false hope. No way. He's been wrong about stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, So like I said, I put out I polled the internet and I asked people, hey, if you had a chance to sit down with Ian Hezekastas or someone at the WoW team, but let's just go with Ian because we know his name, and you were able to ask him, whatever, what would you ask? And I tried to set up the context a little bit. Like, this is something that wouldn't be an interview. It wouldn't be like some live thing with an audience watching and cheering you on or cheering on Ian or dissing on Ian or whatever. It's just a conversation. And I got mostly good questions, and there were some things that I was like, and I got some questions that are like, oh, this is a good opportunity to mute some more Twitter peoples. How nice. So thank you to some of those people. None of them, I double checked, none of them actually follow me on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting, these aren't the right people anyway. So it's okay. But I got a lot of good questions about different aspects of game design and story, which I think was like outside of the context. I think I would want to save that for hey, if you sat down with Steve Denuser, what would you ask him? I wouldn't want to set something up with, hey, what would you want to ask Christy Golden? Because she doesn't have that same level of creative control that Denuser has. He's the name that I know. So that would be where my direction goes. Hopefully Player Housing doesn't go the way of the dance studio talked about and joked about. That's the thing, though. They don't even talk about. They don't even talk about it. It hasn't been there hasn't been a chance for it to really grow or anything like that. So I think now's a good time to wrap things up and we can actually get started with the stream. Woohoo! So folks, I had just completed the last parts of the Covenant campaign, the final step or whatever. I got the achievements, I got exalted, like what to do for me. And from the actual events of the questing and whatnot, it was like, okay, it was cool. I learned some stuff. We learned some new truths about the jailer and other such things, some things that have been theorized long ago, whoop-de-doo. I think the real gem here that comes from this week's particular chapter campaign are these little things, these little stay a while and listen sorts of dealies. And I'm not going to spoil too well. I'm obviously spoiling a little bit because we're going to see this interaction between mom and I was going to say mom and dad, between father and son. But it's these sorts of things that I'm referring to when it comes to adding more flavor or adding more depth to Warcraft's lore in their own style. And what I mean by that is, these little optional bits that we can stay for, stay a while and listen, that we can stay for, or if we want to just get back to whatever it is that we're doing because, hey, we got our achievement and we got our renown and we just don't want to move on to other things. The idea of having these sorts of options, leaves me a little bit mixed because in other narratives, such as Final Fantasy XIV, like you're thrust into it, and then there's obvious inferences that, okay, maybe you don't want to miss this because you're going to get like really important stuff, but you can exit out of it if you want and go ahead and skip it. Here, it's kind of the other approach. It's the other way around, where it's already optional. You can just walk right by it, and sometimes you might even just ignore it. You might just pass it right by. But if you stick around, you get to see like these little bits of dialogue that aren't cutscenes per se. They don't take you out of the action or anything, but you just can kind of like observe things. It doesn't feel like you're not necessarily a part of it, which is, again, that's also sort of a mixed bag. But it doesn't feel like you're forced to be in that scene either. This is very much like a conversation between like these small numbers of people, and I think that's really cool to have.